Indiana Jones, It's a podcast about Indiana Jones. Every movie, 1 minute at a time. The Indiana Jones Minute.
Welcome back to the Indiana Jones Minute. This is the podcast where we discuss the wet man without a hat 1 minute at a time. I'm the Admiral, Pete Mummert.
I am Tom Taylor.
I'm Gerald Christopher Oblivious Porter.
And today we welcome back the Darth Vader to my C-3PO, the maker himself, illustrator extraordinaire, Chris Eliopoulos. Welcome back, Chris.
Wow, what an intro.
That was nice.
It was.
I know. I want to be introduced that way wherever I go now.
Well, thanks for coming back today.
Oh, thanks for having me. This is a joy.
Yeah, and we're here to talk about minute 37, which begins with Indy sputtering in an air pocket and ends with Indy and Elsa holding hands and frolicking along the Venetian canals.
Frolicking.
Yeah, and that's what you do in Venice. I kind of wish that there have been different points where I've kind of like rewritten parts of this movie in my head, and I kind of want to see a version of this scene where the only dialogue is, "Ow, my eyes!"
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah.
I got petroleum in my eyes.
Yeah.
It stings so bad.
I thought you were saying the rats were eating your eyes out.
Yeah,
no.
That too.
Yeah.
I'll take
That
that
would be
one.
gross.
Yeah. Hey, what is the fire in the coffin air pocket?
I was wondering that too.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I was wondering, is the coffin on fire or is that fire in the coffin?
Or is there? I thought there was maybe a hole in there.
But if there's a hole in there, is there going to be an air pocket?
Well, we're in big trouble. That was what we were
Yeah.
talking about. Yeah, it's not hermetically sealed. I mean,
Yeah.
that was the point. It would either suck all the oxygen out. Like, didn't you guys see Backdraft? I saw that with you, Tommy.
Kidding me, Backdraft? You're bringing up Backdraft on our podcast show?
Musophobia.
I bet Jerry's even done the backdraft ride at
He
Universal
probably
Studios.
has. You know what? I think I have. Don't make fun of it.
Well, no, is that? I didn't know if that was A, a torch, B, the coffin's on fire, which is kind of weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess so. It's wood, right?
It is wooden.
Okay,
And
and
soaked in
then
gasoline.
C, it's or there's a hole. Yeah.
D.
Okay.
It's a light source so they can shoot the movie.
There you go.
Ah. Well, Indy says here, don't wander off. And I don't know why he says that instead of something helpful. Maybe, hey, I'm going to go look for a way out of here. It'll be safer if you stay in this coffin air pocket.
Right.
Yeah, they're about to be fried up with the rats, and he's being glib about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's that Indiana Jones magic.
Hey, don't wander
That's the
off.
charm.
And she's like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's freaking
She
out.
screams at water. He's already gone. She's like, what?
I like this because this like 20 seconds, 30 seconds in here is the closest we get to Willie in this movie.
Oh, good point.
Is
Yeah.
it? I don't know.
She does a little bit of
I actually thought
screaming.
you were going to say Marion, and I was going to agree with you. Because like her what is kind of like, you know, being shocked by his baloney and kind of scared and kind of freaking out, but kind of holding it together. I don't know.
Well, I just like she does a little scream when when the rats come in. And it's like she's definitely no Willie Scott when it comes to the screaming.
Yeah, she's the one who said lower me down. She was whole hog going into the murk.
No,
and the
I don't
muck
mean it
and,
like that.
you know.
Yeah, no, I think I was wondering if she's like very specifically a counterpoint to Willie. Like she's completely like she's more adventurous than Indiana Jones is. She's she takes the lead. She's always looking for adventure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if they're like, hey, remember what we did with Willie? Let's do the opposite of that.
Yeah. That's why everyone loves her and remembers her so much.
She seemed she seems appropriately grossed out or frightened. It's like, that's within the realm of the Goldilocks zone.
Yeah.
Nobody here would not scream if you had rats in your hair.
Right.
If Indy were in there, do you think he would be screaming? Actually, I do think he would. If the rats were in his hair,
yeah.
Well, he kind of screamed when he was in the spike room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he screamed when that kid hit him with a torch. And they kind of
true.
bellowed, Yeah.
Do you think? I mean, in like 5 or 10 minutes, should they survive, is Elsa gonna have one of those like, well, you sure know how to show a lady a good time? Is it one of those like a little bit like she's down for the adventure? I know I screamed 5 minutes ago, but
That would have been nice. Something like that would have been nice, I think. Not to skip ahead.
Well, she's kind of sterile. She's sterile here.
Yeah.
I mean, throughout the movie, she's generally unemotional. I mean, we saw that last minute she had the whole, a couple minutes ago, giddy as a schoolboy, whatever. And that's like, I think she was kind of into that. I think she was, but for the most part, she's unemotional and detached.
It's weird that, you find out that she's faking most of the time and lying to him, but it's like, it almost seems like we're reading her as a fake, as not genuine and not actually being a person, which is weird because they're supposed to fake you out with that. They're supposed to think you're supposed to not know that she's being a fake until the big reveal.
Yeah. This is her one real moment, though, right? I mean, because now she's not faking it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. This wasn't part of the bargain. Yeah.
Yeah, she wasn't planning on this one.
Yeah.
But the question is she faking it at all? Does she ever fake it? She might be, but there's an argument could be made that she's not faking it any time.
I think she's playing the Jones boys.
See, I'd say that's a question for you, Pete. I mean, you're emotionally detached.
Yeah.
I mean, are you ever faking it through
Wet
life?
ham.
I mean, are you faking it even when and when you have the whole backstory? And you are, aren't you?
I really like Chris, Tom, and Jerry.
Wow.
You decide, listeners.
That brought a tear to my eye.
I feel like I've seen you at the little
Something
the
to my
shrimp cocktail table there. You can actually fake it pretty well.
Well, I think maybe what Pete is saying, and forgive me if I'm getting this totally wrong, but that she could be faking in terms of, yes, she's working for Hitler and she's lying to him about where his dad is and everything.
Yeah,
but maybe all of her reactions that we're seeing they could be absolutely genuine.
Well, she could be doing the exact same thing that Belloc was doing or that Indy is doing. She's working for somebody, but she's really out for what she wants. And it's possible that she wants
could still
both
like
of the
him.
giddy schoolboys. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's possible that everything that's happened so far is just what she wants herself.
Right. She's just thinking up the report that she's going to type up for the rake.
Yeah.
Well,
happening.
I guess she's conflicted in the sense that, okay, she works for the Nazis, I guess Hitler. I didn't think of it that way. I guess Hitler's her boss.
Drive alone, you drive with Hitler.
Right, I remember those propaganda posters. But over here, I mean, she still has, a lot of respect for archaeology and the whole thing. And here's a question I have for Chris.
Uh-oh.
Is Indiana Jones famous? Like, is Elsa here like, oh my God, I can't believe I get to work with Indiana Jones on this?
But isn't he always, no matter where he goes, even if he's in the middle of India, in the middle of nowhere, they're like, Dr. Jones? Like, he's known in those circles.
Right?
So I think she would know him.
So she conflicted in the sense that, like she has to work for the Nazis, yeah, but
she's also an archaeologist.
it's amazing that, like, she gets to, she's in the presence of greatness here, this incredible archaeologist.
Yeah, but I guess she's like a dark version of Indy, isn't that she the only care about finding the thing at the end of the day, and it's not about the other person. It's about, I want to find what I want, and I want my thing, and I'll do whatever it takes to get there. I mean, look, Indy just ditched the thing that's been sitting there for 1,000 years that everybody's been searching for. His father spent 40 years looking for it, and he dumps it.
Yeah.
There's no regard for any of this stuff, which I can't understand how they're archaeologists when they have no respect for any of this. I mean, the minute he walked into the catacomb, he just ripped a corpse out, took the bone, and
lit
went
it
to
on
work.
fire.
Did not care at all.
Yeah.
Right.
We don't know what, is it pagan? It was before the Christianity got in there, and then, you could have saved this and studied it, but no.
Yeah. Now, it lights up real good.
It's also possible that Elsa's super famous and Indy and Marcus should know who she is. They've just never bothered to keep up reading the latest journals.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, what's fascinating is Indy tells us towards the beginning of the movie that 70 or 80% of archaeology takes place in a library, or research, the lab, or underneath it. Yeah, and that's what archaeology is. And then we see the guy and he jumps out the window at the college. You're like, this guy hates archaeology.
Yeah.
Yeah. He just wants to run around outside.
Right. If 80% of it is in the library, the classroom, or the lab, that's not what this guy does.
He's a grave robber with a degree.
Yeah.
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 I mean, you see him, like, I can imagine him going to the library and opening up a book in like 2 minutes just being like, boring.
Yeah.
Like slamming it shut.
He
Schmacks.
jumps out the window of the library for no reason, just because.
Yeah.
It's
Right.
like his only way to, this is too disgusting.
Yeah.
Well, Chris, you say that Elsa's basically a dark side of Indy, or a dark version of him. That, of course, calls to mind Belloc.
Mm-hmm.
So how are Elsa and Belloc similar or different?
Well, she's the femme fatale, right? I mean, if you go back to the old
Yeah.
movies, like that's, the trickster that comes, you find out that she's, sorry, spoilers, the bad guy at the end. But I think they're very similar in the fact that they'll do whatever it takes to get what they need. Belloc didn't sleep with Indy and his father. She gets to do that.
True.
So that's the slight difference, I think.
A small one.
Yeah.
But I also wonder, though, if how good she is if they're relying on Henry Sr.
Uh-huh.
And then when he obviously turns, when they finds out that they're Nazis, and he refuses. I would assume he refused to work for them anymore, and that's why they took him to the castle. That they went to Indy next. I guess they wanted the Grail Diary, but they also wanted somebody to lead it. So she's obviously not as good as Belloc, right?
Right.
Belloc
Yeah,
is
they're
pretty good.
That's a good point. They're totally just working off of whatever the Joneses have figured out already. Like, they don't have any original ideas.
Well, now I don't understand what their plan is. Like, was their plan just to have Indy find the Grail and they're going to kind of follow after him? Or was their plan that Indy's going to work for them?
Yeah, I don't know. I was asking that at Donovan's house. Like, why does he, as the bad guy, want Indiana Jones involved in this at all?
You know what? I just want to take a second and sing a little bit. I love it when Peter is confused, because he's the smartest one on the show.
We all feel a little better about ourselves.
You guys have been at this way too long now.
That was so kind, Jerry. I've got a question just for you.
Hey.
As somebody who suffers from ometophobia, can you swim underwater with your eyes open?
Oh.
Well,
I can't. Like, that just it freaks me out.
Oh, really?
And Indy and Elsa do it here, and I watch that, and I'm like, how are they doing that? That's crazy.
Well, I can when the water is pellucid, like it is here. Word today. Thank you. No, I mean, we talked about this. Why is that water crystal clear? And yes, if it looked like this, Pete, yeah, I don't have a problem swimming with my eyes open. It's
I don't
fun.
either, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's petroleum in the water too, so how's that not stinging
It's
his
kind of
eyes?
weird because we talked about, and we go, oh, well, okay, so Venice has a petroleum problem with all the boats there, but it kind of floats on top of the water, which would make sense if you light it. It's still going to, much like the Cuyahoga River in Cleveland, Ohio in the 70s, it's going to light on fire. But it's I mean, if the whole thing was petroleum, it's like, I mean, Venice would explode.
Yeah.
But also think how much rat feces there is in this water, and coming into his open eyes, like he's just got to be dripping with diseases.
And it's a grave, like there's dead bodies now in there.
Yeah.
Oh, in fact, what was the movie? Some David Lean movie with Katharine Hepburn, and she jumps in. It's in Venice. I think it's called.
It's right here.
called-
It's right in front of the same church.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
she, as the actress, as for the scene, she leapt into the water.
Yeah.
And they were very careful to cover everything and protect her skin and everything, but they didn't do anything with her eyes, and she had eye trouble for the rest of her life.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
From that.
Whoa.
But I have to say it's gotten better now, but the first time I went to Venice, I was like 16, and that was before they really cleaned up the canals, and I was there in July. And when you walk along the canals in July, you realize that a lot of them are just open sewers. And it smells horrible. And so like all this stuff's in the water. Like, I just don't know how you could open your eyes in that.
Yeah, I guess.
Plus, how can you see? Shouldn't it be dark? I mean, I know there's fire above,
Right.
but if you're down that low, it should be just absolutely pitch black.
What exactly does he see? He finds a way up. We don't see what he sees.
And that's a little bit tough on this. He's like, I think I found a way out of here. And then you're like, okay. I mean, we're spackling over a lot of holes there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bit of a... I'm not saying there isn't one, but you thought, well, if there was a way out of there, and there's biblical fire rushing through the cavern, the crypt there, wouldn't all the rats be running to that, exit? I mean, rats
That's a good point.
Yeah, I mean, I could understand.
What did that smell like?
Following the rats.
Burning rats?
Yeah.
Ugh.
The fact that the rats are all pouring into the coffin illustrates that there's no way out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would have been really funny, actually, when they come out of the sewer in the middle of the outdoor restaurant or whatever. If it was just a flood of rats coming out
Like
after them.
Ratatouille? Everything just goes...
Exactly. Yeah.
That was my question. I thought that would have been awesome if like the rats had poured out all, and it would have been great.
Oh, I thought you were saying if they made a meal.
They made a meal.
Well, think about this for a minute, though. So Indy comes out of this manhole cover. And first of all, there's no manhole cover here in real life. And I don't know how they did this stunt. I don't know if it's forced perspective, but they obviously had to cut a hole in the ground here. But you can see how high the water level is by looking at the canal right next to where they are.
Wow.
So it's pretty, they did, I don't know how they did this, but it was amazing. But when you think about this, there's a manhole cover that leads down to the night with the shield that tells you how to find the Holy Grail. So that means that somebody like from Venice Power and Light goes down there quite regularly and sees that shield and that night. Like there's a manhole cover that leads right there.
Yeah.
Plus, instead of going through the library, you could have just gone down in the sewer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Their marble floor would still be intact.
Yeah.
And who wants to eat right next to a sewer grate, by the way?
Yeah, that can't smell good.
Nah.
It smells like petroleum and rat poops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, Jerry, you were complaining about the Venice line when it happened the first time. And I want to complain about it here. Because I get that Venice is sort of a, running gag of sorts. He does it like 3 times.
Yep.
I think 2 of them are fine, but this one I think is kind of out of place. And I don't think he would say that when he came out of here. I don't know why he's saying Venice. I want to be like, check, please, or something like just something. Like another thing.
I wish to complain about the service.
Yeah. What's this fly doing on my soup?
I wondered about that, and I thought, so the first one he comes off the boat, and it's a more natural Venice.
Yeah.
Yeah, like,
Enjoying
sure,
it in
and the
Venice.
sun is shining down, and that's all lovely.
Yeah.
Now, this is the second one, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. This is the second one, which I'm with you there, Tommy. I was afraid, not remembering this movie, I was like, oh, they're setting this up for an unnecessary line. I don't know. He might do it, he might not, and then an Venice, and it was just like,
I want to read my notes right here.
Oh.
Jerry will call Venice lazy, and Tom will call it stupid, but I like it.
So you guys have been at this too long.
Which brings us to the end of the Indiana Jones minute. The singularity has been achieved.
Yeah.
Well, I'll give you my take if you want a new take.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
So my
Save us.
take is this movie in general, and this one points it out, is they tried to go a lot more for the humor. Probably because they were nervous after Temple that they were too dark, and now they tried to go the other direction and got really light, so everything was kind of a joke. So, like, if you look at this movie as a whole, it's a lot more funny or jokey than the previous versions. And I think this is part of it, is like they're throwing in, like somebody came in to punch up the script and add all the little jokes in it, at the
They did a
last minute,
romp
so.
pass or something.
Yeah.
More of a romp.
a romp pass.
A rumpus.
Yeah, exactly.
But see, I think this is genuinely a funny line because he's like, you come up out of the sewer and you're surrounded by all these, nicely dressed people enjoying their afternoon cocktails. And you're like, well, you feel super awkward. And that's probably the first thing that pops back in his head. He's like, Venice.
He shakes like a dog when he gets out of there.
Yeah, it's kind of cool.
It's all over everybody.
See, I would not have a problem with Venice like that. Like, if that was the only time he said it was right here, that is kind of funny and it's fine. And he's happy to be alive. So you're like, sure.
Yeah, what if he said like, Venice?
Yeah.
What if he just did a different spin on it?
Yeah, and if that was the only one, I would laugh.
I don't think you would. I
would be fine
you
with
would
that.
laugh in fury.
Well, all right. So let me ask you this. I'm macro perspecting this outside above the movie now. So if Fortune and Glory was our tagline for Temple of Doom, is Venice the tagline for The Last Crusade?
Oh, it's Junior.
Right.
I mean, because it's it's said with, it's like part adventure, part forced comedy, and part confusion, much like the Fortune and Glory chin-chuck that Indy gives Short Round. It's just, and it seems to be the line that people latch onto.
See, I think there actually is a tagline, but I can't tell you the tagline because you haven't seen that part of the movie yet.
Okay, all right. So I'll settle down. Let me get back in my beanbag chair.
It's also humor comes in threes. So the first one was the joke set up. This is sort of the joke, and then the next one is going to be sort of like the conclusion and sort of like to bring it back. So you sort of see it in threes.
Yeah, and I get that, and I like the first one, and I like the last one, but this it seems too forced in this moment.
Oh,
I'm sorry,
you're kidding me! You like the last one?
I do like the last one.
Oh my god!
The last one at least is like a clean joke. It's like you get what he's doing. You get that it's a joke. Like here, it's just sort of like I'm going to say that line again.
It's
I'm
hardly clean, Tommy.
Well, not clean like that. I mean, tidy, like a straight line. Like it's a it's like a rigid thrusting line. What?
Right.
Oh.
You could have done the first one and the third one and not have the second one, and it still would have been a joke.
Yeah.
It would have been a better joke.
I like that this is like Goldilocks and the porridge. Like Jerry likes the first one, I like the second one, and Tom likes the third one. Which one do you like, Chris?
Hey, Chris fell asleep in my bed.
Wait,
In my
what?
chair. What's going on?
The porridge was too much. So if again, we're gonna go back to the Brotherhood of the Crazy Fezzes, and the guy lights the place on fire. Can't see Indiana Jones. Would assume the guy died in a burning flame.
Yes.
Right.
Why did they come racing out like they knew he was getting away?
That is my
They couldn't
only
see
note
him?
for this minute.
Okay. Because they come running out like they knew he was coming out of the sewer.
Yeah. It's very weird.
Can I just say, I absolutely adore the guy that comes running out with the giant machine gun covered with a sports coat so that no one will know that he's carrying a giant machine gun.
Yeah. You see that later, too.
I love
He's like, what does that guy do? Oh, yeah, he's got a huge gun under his coat. But yeah, that is super weird. It's like, oh, you guys, by the way, you're not just leaving the library, you're in a chase scene. Oh, okay, well, we'll step it up then. All right.
Yeah.
I don't understand, why all of Venice isn't ablaze right now.
Yeah.
Like, wouldn't there be smoke coming out of the sewer? And I mean, the whole, like the library. I mean, I got the impression there's so much petroleum down there.
Oh, that poor wonderful librarian's probably dead.
Yeah.
Smoke
no.
inhalation.
Yeah.
Well, Marcus is lying on the ground somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true.
Remind me. So, but I don't know. They would
Poor
think
Marcus.
that this guy, Indy would be dead. I mean, they should be coming out going, nothing's going to survive that. Not,
And they should be coming out just hacking, just coughing and coughing and
Right.
Yeah. And again, the cruciform guy should come out and just be like, kind of dusting their hands off, like, well, another job done to save the what? And see Indiana Jones and start booking after him.
Yeah.
I do have one note. Out of all of the movies, this is Pete Mummert's favorite outfit on Kasim.
Oh.
Out of every single everything.
I have a note that says Jerry's going to say this is my favorite outfit, and Jerry is not wrong. You are 100% correct, my friend.
And the white tie. He's got the white tie, which is super ballin'.
It is really snappy.
Yeah, it's like a zoot suit and the red carnation.
Yeah, it's got like the cut. It's got like the thin waist, but like the super broad shoulders, and it's
a
awesome.
high collar.
And then he's got, the fez, which I thought this was fascinating. I went down a rabbit hole looking up the history of the fez last night, which was named for the Moroccan city Fez.
I was hoping you were going to say like Anvil.
Yeah. And I didn't know. And Pete, you'll appreciate this. Apparently, Ataturk outlawed wearing the fez because he wanted to bring Turkey into modernity or modern times.
Oh, wow.
And people sort of thought that the fez, at least Westerners, viewed it as having sort of a quote Oriental look or vibe to it. It was exotic. And so,
What is the use of a fez?
it
doesn't have a brim, so it doesn't.
yeah,
keep the sun
and
in your
I
eyes.
think there
Right,
was
right.
I read
Yeah.
like it was sort of like you could wrap cloth around it as well. There's a whole thing about it. I mean, it's normally associated with the Ottoman Empire, but then it was in, I think, like the Balkans and Serbia and those types
That's
of
interesting
places.
because every person in Turkey, even to this day almost, has a picture of Ataturk in their house. Like, you know, like in the Great Depression, everyone had a picture of FDR.
Right.
And so it's like he's looking down on every single person. They're like, I can't wear a fez. I can't wear a fez.
I can't wear a fez. Yeah.
Well, Doctor Who taught us that fezzes are cool, so maybe they'll come back now.
Did you watch this as a kid and only associate them with Shriners?
Oh, yeah, I still do.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Like, it's still hard for me to think of them as a cool hat.
Yeah, they should be chasing Indy in tiny little cars.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. And they should be like twice as old.
Yeah.
Well, did you guys notice all of a sudden there are 6 loud fezzes? So
Oh, I
what were the
opposed to
other
what?
guys? Well, there's 3.
Maybe the other 3 guys were standing up in the plaza and they're like, hey, he's coming up.
Well, I think
They were beating the librarian to death.
checking out books.
Yeah.
I think they're
Caring for felt.
Do you have volume 7 of Peanuts?
that entire.
Speaking of headwear, I think it's fascinating that Indy, the man with the hat, is the only man in this scene not wearing a hat out of like 30
Oh,
men.
yeah.
Well, you know, I counted. There's 2. There's one other.
Oh, is there?
Yeah, the waiter.
Oh.
But you are right,
Oh,
Pete.
sure.
There's 21 out of 22 people in the scene are wearing hats.
Wow.
The
Yeah.
waiter is the only one not wearing a hat.
How many of the people here in the restaurant do you think we saw getting off the boat with Marcus and Indy? Because we noticed a lot of like Belloc dressed
Yep.
dudes there, and there are a
Yeah.
lot right here, and I wonder if like 3 of them are the same guy.
I think they are. I think it's an archaeologist convention. Sort of like a Belloc
Right.
convention sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, or like your own family label convention.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kazim's got a flower in his breast pocket. Did he
sure
get that for
does,
him too?
Huh?
Did he cut one off?
Oh, good point. Did he pay for his, or did he just have some archaeologist steal it for him?
Or did he take it back from Elsa?
Oh, maybe.
Hers was white though,
Yeah,
Oh,
that's a
yeah.
good point.
Chris
but he needed something to
Eliopoulos.
match his hat.
Yeah. It's an incredible flower. Boutonniere. Is any flower on your lapel called a boutonniere, or is that a specific thing?
I don't know. I only think of prom when I think of
Jerry, you're the
boutonnieres.
one who's doing all the research.
Come on, Jared. Boutonniere.
I'd have to go to a dance first.
Well, he hates to. Oh, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have gone.
I had
this
to
far.
bring it up, Tommy. You knew me. You knew me.
Sorry. You didn't go to public school.
Well, on that happy note, anybody have anything else for minute 37?
Speaking of parochial schools,
Hey!
this just in from Professor Christy Porter. What was Kazim doing yesterday? Did he have to apply for this job? Like what?
wow.
Like what? What does he do?
Does he have like a special phone in his house that only
Yeah.
rings if there's a Grail emergency?
And do they all dress like this all the time? Like, is he sitting around watching TV, like listening to the radio dressed like this?
I want to see the scene where he calls up his other Fez buddies and goes, "Suit up, get your boutonniere, get your white tie. Suit up. We're on the case."
Well, did they just know him at the like? Did they know him at the library? Like, oh, come back, and he's going to do the
These
whole.
guys.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I don't think the Brotherhood pays that much, right? So he has to have a day job. Like he's
Yeah.
got to be working, like doing dishes at the behind the outdoor restaurant here, right, or something.
maybe.
Or are they just? I mean, are they just? Okay, so if we think about it, so there's a couple of guys in the Middle East, I guess, around Petra, quote Petra, or whatever the hell they call it, city of the Crescent Valley, whatever. I haven't gotten there yet. There's a couple.
But you're
of,
looking forward to it, aren't you?
there's a couple of Brotherhood guys around there, right? Because it's Grail's there. Then there's a couple in Venice, clearly, because you're like, oh yeah, that's the second marker, right, with the rubbing. Then there's probably a few, in the mountainous region north of Ankara, because that's where the first marker is. Mm-hmm. Is that it? Is that where these guys hang out? That's it? Just those
Or do
three
they have
spots?
are these guys in Chicago and Des Moines
Yeah.
and Moscow, or like are they all over the world
yeah.
just waiting for someone to look for the Grail?
Waiting for somebody to look for the Grail anywhere at any time. Like, are there 8 markers?
Do we know these guys are not Shriners? Do we know what the Shriners really do in real life?
No, we don't.
You better not follow this lead.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Somewhere
we
we don't
don't
Closing
know.
this door right now so no one
I
gets
think
hurt.
they work at Burger King,
Yeah.
Sure.
and they have like a network they can call each other when somebody gets too close.
Yeah.
Although I wonder if there is a network, because these same exact guys show up in the desert later on. Like they have to go like wherever the crisis
That's pretty
is or
racist
something.
of you, because how do you know they're all the same people? It could have been a few other different people.
Oh, maybe you're right. Okay, at least that one guy. All mustachioed guys look the same to me. I'm sorry. There, I said it.
All the fezzes throw you for a loop.
Yeah.
So the one guy doesn't have a mustache, and I thot, okay, so he's a novitiate.
He's new.
Yeah, exactly. Like, no.
I used my
you
context
shave.
clues to learn what you were saying. What was it? Novitiate? What?
Novitiate. That's like that's like that. It's like when you're like a priest in training, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
A Padawad?
Oh,
Sorry.
Neophyte.
yeah.
A Padawad rubbig. A neophyte.
A neophyte, yes.
You were so
Yeah.
good at that too, Tom.
What, the nose?
The nose voice. Yeah.
The rubbing. Would you like some red hot atomics? I'm breathing through my mouth.
Get off of me, get off of me, get off of me.
Well, I haven't bathed in a number of days. Everything's fine. I did a rubbing.
Yeah. You keep that to yourself.
Can we get off of
I gotta
this?
go complete my rubbing.
Oh my God.
Well, let's talk about something we don't have to keep to ourselves. Chris.
Were you giving me away already?
Yes.
Yeah, really. Get out of
We don't watch you. We're not keeping you. Get lost.
It's not working out.
All right. I have lots of comic books and regular kids books out there. Go look up my name. I'm like all over the place.
He's awesome.
He's awesome.
If you can, trying to find, like, I was on as Pete was mentioning earlier, I was on an episode of Late Night with Seth Meyers?
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember because they all have different names, like
I
Late
know.
Night and Late Evening. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Later.
Night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but that was last year, but hopefully there's a video online somewhere of me drawing with Seth. And
Yeah, I'll see if I can find that and put that on the Listeners
yeah.
Crusade. That video was
it's
awesome.
been a while.
Yeah.
It might have been already kind of gone, but it was fun. There were pictures. I'm sure there's pictures online somewhere, but
Yeah.
and then just, check out my kids' books, please.
Yeah. And check out Darth Vader #1, everybody.
For some reason. Yeah.
Somebody's obsessed.
His greatest work. And
He's
Somebody's gonna
dead,
use the
Jim.
school board.
He's dead.
And for everybody else, if you want to see that video and we are able to find it, well, actually, if John Brugan is able to find it because we'll forget. But check out our Facebook group, Indiana Jones Minute and the Listeners Crusade. All four of us here are in that group, and come check it out. And there's lots of fun stuff. And please join the group and join us back here tomorrow for minute 38 of Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade here on the Indiana Jones Minute.
Chris, what's your favorite outfit in the whole movie? All of them.
Solace.
There you go.
Oh.
Yeah.
And he's got a fez, doesn't he? It's a fez to full of fezzes.
And that's a good tie-in to tomorrow. Tune in tomorrow. We have a tie-in.
The pheasant.